Hello and welcome to Legend of Keepers. This is a dungeon management and roguelite combination where you play as the evildoer. Yes, you play as the dungeon lord attempting to stop the heroes from getting to their destination, i.e. your treasure chest. And I gotta say, this reminds me heavily of a reverse Darkest Dungeon, and the developers themselves actually have stated that their inspirations from video games specifically are Darkest Dungeon, Slay the Spire, Dungeon Keeper, and many more. So bear in mind, this game is not out yet, but it will be coming out in early access. I believe there is a prologue available. Not entirely sure if that's still available right now, but it is coming out very soon, within the next week. And I highly recommend checking out the link in the description because I have been playing this game quite a bit. As you can see right here, I'm actually playing with the Slaveholder, which is one of the only heroes I have available at the moment, and we are going to be making a new save. Do I want to launch the tutorial? I'm actually going to not launch the tutorial because I don't really need to. I think I have kind of learned a little bit more about what's going on here. So as you can see, we have 3 different hero options, and I would assume, I haven't gotten to this point yet, unfortunately, but I would assume that as you go through the game and as you fail, as you succeed, and so on and so forth, you're going to be able to unlock these and then play with different playstyles. So you can see here the Enchantress has much more powerful spells. You can see the Engineer has much more powerful traps, whereas the Slaveholder, which I actually quite like, I think the Slaveholder is a pretty fun playstyle to have, has really good monsters and morale. So we're going to be playing as the Slaveholder right here. Now you can see the various talent points that you're going to be able to gain as well. These various talent points change how your hero, which is the Slaveholder for me specifically here, and it can change exactly what he's capable of doing. So for example, he's got an ability called Intimidation, and you can see that this makes it deal 4 to 8 additional morale damage. And you'll see exactly what morale damage is as we go forward. So as you can see also, there are custom modes. So if you want to, you can decide on what kind of difficulty you want. You can even have modding as well. There is a modding functionality, I suppose, in the game, and I'm not entirely sure if it's going to have Steam Workshop compatibility, but if it does, it's going to be really, really good. And otherwise, well, there's other ways to mod games, I suppose, but we're going to be playing ranked at the moment. You can change whether the heroes are strong, gold gains, master's life, motivation lost, and there's also Twitch configurations and so on. So your viewers can, you know, affect your success and failures and so on. Alright, so here we go. This is our schedule at the moment. I can't scroll down any further, but that's okay. We start with 700 HP. We gain 7 HP per week. Bear in mind that it goes by week, and we start with 350 gold. And as you can see right here, we have a normal band of adventurers ready to attack our dungeon. So this is our preparation phase. Combat is done in a turn-based fashion, but everything moves very, very quickly. There's no real waiting around. So I like this a lot. The gameplay loop itself is very streamlined and fluid, and I like that. So anyway, as you can see right here, we are in the trap area. There are a wide variety of different traps available, and you can also buy and discover additional traps as you play. And you can see here, the Circular Sword deals 10 physical damage immediately, and then also applies a bleeding effect. Then we have the Rallying Horn, which has a morale damage to it, and as well as applying Enraged, which increases damage and morale damage by our monsters by 30%, which is really good. And then we have Bone Catapult, minus 10 morale, and it also applies Demoralized, which does then continue to reduce morale over the next few turns. And then we have Poison Dart, which just does 40 damage and applies poison to the first target. So you can see here that each and every one of these has a different targeting as well. All 3 of these target every single enemy, and this one targets the front. So we're going to go for Circular Saw immediately. I personally love the Circular Saw. I think it's a really, really good really good thing. And you can also mouse over the opponents to see exactly what kind of resistances they have. So for example, if actually, you know what, I'm not going to use the Circular Saw. I'm going to use the Poison Dart first, because the first enemy that we have to deal with here has a minus 45% nature resistance, and as a result, our Poison Dart is going to deal so much damage to her. So I think that's really, really good. So we're just going to confirm that. Now we're in the next stage, and this basically gives us an opportunity to choose our monsters and which monsters we actually want to have to stop the opponent. So we're going to just have these guys right about here, and bear in mind that each and every monster has different abilities. So you can see here that we have mostly nature damage and physical damage, and it seems like that's pretty good for fighting these adventurers because they have low nature damage and relatively low armor, but nothing too amazing. I think they have more ice resistance. Yeah, 2 of them have 50% ice resistance, so using an ice yeti like this guy right here would probably not be the best idea. But bear in mind that all of our monsters in the back line have very little HP, so they can die very, very fast. And they will die. Don't worry about that. They will die, but there is a way that we can deal with that as we go forward. Now I'm also going to get our circular saw out. And this one right here is actually a spell section, the one that the game just skipped, because of course at the time you can't choose what spell you want to use. It's kind of like a bit of an adaptation sort of thing going on. Anyway, we're going to have this guy in the front because he's more of a tank, and then we have a bunch of goblins, ghosts, skeleton magus, as well as a flame eater. So how is their fire resistance? Ooh, they're really bad against fire. So I'm going to put 2 fire elemental kind of guys right there, and that's hopefully going to help us. And then they will eventually, if they survive all of this, get to our quote-unquote master, or the dungeon lord as I like to call him, and they are going to have to fight him. And bear in mind that we also have the opportunity to choose exactly what kind of abilities we're going to use. So for example, Goblin Trick right here deals 35 damage to the back line. As you can see the health bar there going down a little bit, so you can see exactly how much damage it's going to deal. But for now, I'm just going to try and eliminate the front line as fast as possible, because she is extremely weak against nature damage. And oh, our archer got taken out immediately. That's gotta hurt. That has gotta hurt. Yeah, but anyway, when monsters get eliminated, it's not really the end for them. Basically what happens is they are then revived by your necromancers or by whoever, and then they have to be placed in your garrison. And I'll show you all of the management aspects after the fight, but I thought it would be a good idea just to let you know that they're not gone forever, even though I think if you kill them too much, they will probably end up dying or indeed leaving the company, because this is technically a corporation of monsters that is attempting to gain as many profits as possible and stop the adventurers from stealing their loot. But anyway, let's continue to use Poison Dagger. And this one is going to die in the next turn, hopefully. There's our goblin. Goblin's dead. Can't really do much about that. Thankfully, this one's now dead as well. And now we can start doing some damage to the next one. Boom. Yeah, bear in mind that this first run is not going to go so smoothly for us because we haven't trained up any of our monsters. All of our monsters are level 1. They all have very baseline stats and everything, so it's not really going to be a case where we will see a huge amount of damage coming out from them. And as you can see, the circular sword didn't even deal that much damage either, unfortunately, and this one managed to resist the bleed effect, which is not great. Now, what we can do is, this is our spell area here, so we can actually decide whether we want to use a Burning Whip to attack the frontline target. As you can see, that actually would deal quite a bit of damage, almost 50%. And otherwise, we can Show No Mercy, which applies Enraged to the next group of our monsters, so these guys right here. And then we have Intimidation, which would reduce their morale, which is kind of like Insanity or Sanity, shall we say, in Darkest Dungeon. That's why it kind of has that that feel to me of a sort of a reverse Darkest Dungeon. But personally, I feel like they've done a really good job with this game, and I as I say, I've been playing it quite a lot, and that's the thing. Usually, I don't have enough time or anything like that to play games in my spare time. Really, I mean, my spare time's taken up with other things, but the point is that I just had to play more of this. You know, I just had to play more of it because it is just so much fun. But anyway, I'm going to use a fireball here. Boom! So much damage. Unfortunately, I think we're going to lose the guy in the back. Yeah, we did. That's unfortunate. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and go for a stun here. Yeah, nice. That was a good stun. So that she misses a turn now, which is really good. And now we can eliminate the guy over there. And then we can go boom, and you're dead. They didn't even get to the boss man, did they? No, you successfully protected the treasure and we defended it. We gained 96 gold and we killed heroes, which means we gain blood. And the other resource in the game is tears. Oh yeah, gathered from heroes scared away by reducing their morale to 0. Now, otherwise, what you can do is at the end of every single defense, you're able to select one reward. And basically what you can do is you can select gold, you can select an additional minion or a trap. Sometimes it's different dependent on what difficulty adventurers you faced. So for example, if you face some harder difficulty adventurers, then you're going to potentially gain artifacts. And artifacts are consistent bonuses that will provide some kind of benefit to your monsters or your dungeon lord or something along those lines. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Otherwise, I'm going to go for this monster here because I think having additional monsters when the others are in the garrison is probably going to be a good idea. So you can see here right now, the fellows that have lost a couple of pips on their bar, they're going to be going over into the garrison here to try and replenish themselves. So as you can see, they're going to gain +3 to their morale, and that is hopefully going to help them out quite a bit. You know what I'm actually going to do, though? I'm actually going to keep this guy here just for the moment because I am going to need a tank for the first room. And actually, you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to swap these two around because you can actually swap them around in the various rooms. And I'm just going to swap these around so that we actually have a full morale tank over here. And they basically have the same... yeah, kind of the same abilities, kind of the same HP and stuff like that. So they're going to be really, really good to try and stop people from coming towards us. So once those guys are now, thankfully, because these guys are in the garrison, they will gain their morale back. And that is going to make them into, you know, just as good of fighters as they were before, which was not great. You know, they did tend to die quite easily. But anyway, now... every single week, you have an opportunity to choose something in terms of management. So you have a task here. Buy a monster or a trap from the merchant, spend some gold to train your active monsters, or spend some gold to upgrade your active traps. Upgrading traps is really, really good in my opinion, but I have found that upgrading active monsters is actually really fun, because it does add a bunch of things. So on the one hand, it will add a particular ability to them, it will add some HP, and so on. So it's actually really, really good to do something like that. Like for example, this goblin, it gains plus 20% nature resistance, which is really good. Also gains a little bit of power as well, which determines damage and morale dealt, and it also gains life. But goblins I've found are very, very weak against ice and air, and there are quite a few opponents that have that, so it might not be the best idea. But otherwise, what we can do is we can level this guy up. Look at that, he's going to gain less weaknesses against fire and nature, which I think is actually pretty good. So we're going to go and train that guy up, and then we will move on. You can train multiple people as well if you want to. If you have enough gold, then you can train multiple people, but I decided not to do that this time around because I'd like to keep the gold just for a particular reason. Aha! This is fantastic! Okay, so you do have random events that can happen as well every single week if you decide to select that event. And as you can see here, a wizard with a strange hat has fallen from the sky and landed in the entrance hall. He was carrying a magical artifact, and it just so happens to be a magic purse, which increases our gold gain by 20%. Bear in mind that this is all randomized. This is absolutely all randomized. This is not the same thing as what I had in my previous run. So there's a huge amount of replayability. Ah, here we go. The R&D director has created a centrifuge that can transform hero blood into tears. Do you want to use it? Sure, why not? And now we have week 5, and we have more adventurers coming towards us. And now we're back into the prep phase. So that's basically the gameplay loop that you're going to see in Legend of Keepers. And I personally feel like it's really fun. I don't know. It's very addicting in my opinion. I feel like it's really great. Anyway, we're going to just put another poison dart trap there. And now we can place our monsters. So I'm just going to put this guy here. This guy's going to be attacking the front. We might want to... These guys have really low morale. So we might want to go for... they have low HP as well, to be fair. So I'll probably just go for HP damage. Are they resistant to ice? Yeah, they are a little bit resistant to ice, but I guess we'll just have to see what we can do. There's a spell. There's another trap here. So, who are my next guys? Now, here's the thing. If I can find a monster that looks like a skeletal centurion, I am going to try and recruit those guys as soon as possible. These skeletal centurions, in my opinion, are some of the best monsters, but that's literally just my own personal preference. I think their attacks are really, really effective. But otherwise, let's have a look here. They have some decent armor. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to go for Rallying Horn, which is going to enrage the monsters in the next room, which is hopefully going to help us quite a bit. Okay, so this is a bit problematic. I guess we'll just put this guy here, and this is more of a morale damaging guy. So I'm not entirely sure if I'll use him, to be fair, because they have mostly physical damage, and this guy has air damage, which only attacks the front. He's really weak against nature, though. So I think I'm just going to go for this. Oh, no, this is pretty bad. Yeah, this is actually really, really bad. I'm going to have to remove this guy and put him here. And put that guy in the middle to try and prevent him from dying almost immediately. But the point is as I've said, even if they do die, it is not a big deal. And in general, the best thing you can do is just survive and try and prevent as much damage dealt to your main dungeon lord as possible, because the damage that he sustains is persistent. So whenever he takes damage, let's say the enemies get him down to 75%, he's going to then regenerate every single week, and his regeneration rate can also be upgraded as well. But if more adventurers and more adventurers and more adventurers keep chipping down at him, keep getting him down to 50, getting him down to 25, and then eventually killing him, then obviously that's a game over. So we'll see if we can try and prevent that from happening. I'm actually going to try and use hypothermia here, I think. Or should I? It's so terrible. No, I'm going to use hypothermia here, I think. That is going to be quite a bit more effective than using the single target on someone with 50% ice resistance. It's just way too much. Okay, so this is going to be pretty good. I'm going to use Ice Block here. Try and kill the guy in the back as best as I can. Okay, yeah, that's... Oh, nature damage. Yeah. We're gonna take a lot of damage right here. Thankfully, my Yeti is actually doing quite nicely, and we should actually get a kill here. Boom. Yes, you're dead. Okay, that's great. So now my Yeti is done. Let's go through to the spell. Alright, so we can use this. We can go in Rage, or we can try and do more damage to their morale, which actually is quite good, because as you can see right here, if you're going for a morale-focused attack, then applying Terrified for 3 turns is insanely good, because as you can see at the bottom there, morale taken from attacks and traps is increased by 50%, which is just crazy good. But for this, I'm still going for HP damage, so I'm just going to go for Fire Whip, and you can see that the front person there is going to take additional fire damage per turn, and she is a bit weak against fire as it is, so should take a little bit of additional damage as well. Alright, so hopefully I'm not gonna see anyone else dying here, because let's just say that if all of your guys are in the garrison, then you're not gonna have anyone to do anything with, which is not really gonna work out too well. But thankfully, because we have our skeletal magus here, we are gonna be able to kill the guy in the back instantly. Boom, you're dead, and that's it. Because obviously the front line person had some damage over time effects and so on. Aha, so here we go. So now we actually get an opportunity to select an artifact, and we can choose between traps deal 20% additional damage and morale. We have fallen monsters have a 15% chance to lose 1 less motivation. That's actually pretty good, because you're going to be losing monsters quite often. And you can also then upgrade various artifacts. So for example, my magic purse here could be upgraded to level 2, which would then give us an additional 15% gold gain, which is really good actually. But I'm going to go for Horn of Plenty, I think. I think Horn of Plenty does look pretty fun right now. But of course, when you play the game, can actually decide on whatever you want. You can literally do everything in your power to customize your own dungeon. And I think that is one of the greatest things about the game. so far. So otherwise, let's get these guys back into the fold. Unfortunately, I mean, I could put these guys in there. I could put this guy in here still. And I'm just going to let these guys restore themselves a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so we have Trainer, we have Merchant, and we have an event. I only have 357 gold, but we could spend some gold to train our active monsters. So let's do that. Let's train... Where's my other... I could train this guy or this guy. Ooh. Wow. Okay. This guy can turn into an absolute monster, as you can see right here. He gains a passive, which increases his damage dealt by 100% if the target's armor is negative, and he has an ability that reduces armor by 40 for 3 turns. Whoa. That guy might be pretty crazy to go for. It might be quite fun to level up this guy as well. He's really, really weak against fire, though, which is pretty bad. Let's just train this guy up for the moment. And okay, so we can't do either of these because I don't have enough gold, because there's an intensive training. Would take 8 weeks, would give them +2 levels for 225 gold. That's a really, really good bargain, but it does mean that your monster is going to be completely unavailable for that time. And you can also send 3 volunteers to go and plunder things, so you can do that. I guess, shall we? How long is it going to take? 3 weeks. Is it? Can I... Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Risk of injury, 100%. Woohoo, no. Okay, risk of injury is only 5%. Let's plunder this. Your volunteers stole all the farm's onions. The farmer's soup will be bland. You are so cruel. They have emerged unscathed. Yes, bear in mind that one of the other inspirations that the developers had is Monty Python, so you can see a little bit of the comedy element coming in there. We're going to go on a business trip. Choose an employee to protect the sales department during the business trip. And... oh, okay, yeah, I think this one. There we go. We're going to gain some gold, and now we are going to have to fight adventurers. I hope that I still have some guys to actually defend our dungeon, but I might have made a small error by going and plundering, but I wanted to kind of gain a little bit of extra gold. Alright, so this guy is kind of the same, really. I'm thinking maybe... Are they weak against... No, I don't think we really want to go for a morale kind of thing. So I'm going to go for Circular Saw immediately, just to start getting some damage on these guys. And then we'll just put this guy out here because he's an absolute monster now. And then we'll get... Let's see what their attacks can do. So this attack's in the back. This is an area attack. And this is a front attack. So anyone in the middle is going to be basically invulnerable to any attacks. So it will probably be a good idea for me to put this guy there. And then this guy here, because the goblin is probably going to die pretty quickly, isn't he? I mean, ice. Yeah, that's an area effect. That's in the back. Air damage. Oh, no, we don't want this guy over there. Air damage is 0%. Okay, we'll put this guy there then instead. And we'll hope that that maybe gives them a little bit of a better chance to survive. Okay, so by this point, I am hoping that we will not suffer too much. Nature damage is plus 50% right there, which is really, really good. And in the back, they do air damage. And this guy's got really good air defenses. So we'll do that as well. And I guess we'll just put... Do they have bad fire resistance? Yeah, they have really bad fire resistance. So let's put the fire guy there in the middle. And then we have a trap. And I think I'm probably going to... hello, we'll just go for Poison Dart. We'll just go for Poison Dart, I guess. Now, I actually kind of want the adventurers to get to our Dungeon Lord so that I can actually show you the effects of how good he is and what kind of abilities he actually has as well. Now, bear in mind, did you see the circular sword go off there? This guy has lost an arm. Do you see that? On his model right there, he's lost an arm and it's bleeding out. Yeah, hopefully he's gonna... Well, hopefully leave us alone for a little bit of time. Okay, so I'm going to actually go for a Toxic Volley here. Personally, I feel like Toxic Volley is probably one of my favorite abilities because it applies a damage over time effect, and alongside the bleed, it's basically having double damage being dealt now, which is great. Unfortunately, my ice guy. Oh, and my frontline tank. Oh, and my last guy. Yeah, that was some pretty fiendish damage right there, wasn't it? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so now I have a chance to do a spell. I'm probably going to do Burning Whip, I guess. Yeah, I think that seems about right. Look at that. Lots of damage right there. And, yeah, now we have this guy who's weak against fire. I don't think anyone has fire attacks. And he has really good nature resistance, as you can see. Okay, so we can scare them to do some morale damage, but that's not really necessary. But we are otherwise just going to do Spectral Wave. There we go. Do a little bit of damage there. Now, we do have Fear of the Dead and everything as well, so every single one of our characters, by the looks of things, has some kind of morale, morale damaging ability. But personally, I feel like HP, for the moment, with this current setup, is perfectly fine. And I don't think we're going to lose too many people here. Hopefully not any. Cross fingers? Hopefully not any, maybe? Yeah, we might. This guy's going to die from the flames. And Spectral Wave will kill this. There we go. And then another Fireball. Boom. Now he's probably going to be able to kill one of us. Yep, he killed the Wraith. That's fine. It's not too bad. And he's going to die from the bleed, hopefully. Oh, no, never mind. He's going to die from the Fireball. Boom. All right. Yes, we have successfully defended. Oh, look at that. Oh, this is the first time I've actually seen a Naga in the game, and they've got some pretty good resistances, although they are not very good against physical damage or nature, but that's absolutely fine. Now, as you can see right here, this is the Skeletal Centurion I was talking about, and I'm probably going to be taking this guy because he is just so good. As you can see, monsters behind the Skeletal Soldier take 25% less damage, and he also applies bleeding. And bleeding is actually really important for playing with the Slaveholder specifically, because if you place this guy and a bunch of other bleeding type effects on the heroes as they enter your final boss room, the boss can actually heal while attacking bleeding targets, which is the main reason why I really like the bleeding effects that some of the monsters have. Anyway, let's go into our garrison right here. This guy's ready to come back to duty. This guy can just have a nice little rest. And this guy is going to be our main fellow in this room over here. Let's see something. Let's see about this. We're just going to put that guy there, and I think we can probably leave these where they are, and hopefully they're going to be all good. I hope so. I really want to level this guy up, so if I can get any kind of training for him, then I will definitely do that. Okay, so workout. Workout is for your main guy. As you can see, some intensive sessions at the gym. A master has to stay fit. Yes, exactly. So you can also buy things. I personally don't think I need to really go to the gym just yet for our slaveholder, but we will do an event instead. Aha! Ooh. Oh my. This guy is absolutely insane. As you can see, he actually has... Wow. Gonna recruit. I'm going to recruit that guy because I don't know whether you noticed, but this guy has 175 HP. He is an Infernal Guardian. He does damage to the center and applies fire damage resistance reduction, as well as... Look at that. That is insane. And as well as incineration jumps once to another hero if the target's fire resistance is negative. This guy is our star player right now. And unfortunately, we don't have any additional gold, so I will not be able to really go anywhere. I can do a workout. Bear in mind that workouts sometimes cost blood and sometimes cost tears, but some of the time they also cost gold. I'm going to do another event. Oh, nice. You placed a bet on a boar racing game during the lunch break. The one you chose finished first and you won the jackpot. There we go. We gained another 360 coins, and now we can go on a business trip if we want to, or we can do another event. I think I'm going to do another event. Nice. It is high time to go through the stockroom. During the cleaning, one of your employees found this strange object. Traps deal 20% additional damage, so there is a nice artifact for us. And we have another event here, or I can upgrade some of our traps. I think I'm actually going to upgrade some of our traps. I'm going to go for an upgrade for our circular saw, and I think that's going to be it. We'll keep the gold for something else. And now we have some adventurers to fight. Alright, so let's take a look at them. They've got 15... Oh, this guy... Whoa, okay, yeah, you're going to take a lot of damage from my circular saw, fellow. So that's absolutely fine. Let's do that. And now let's get Malphus in here. Oh, he is such an utter beast. Is he actually good to even use here? Oh. Right. I can kind of use him here. He has good air resistance. These guys don't even have fire damage, which is great. Okay, gonna remove him, gonna put him over here, gonna put this here, and then we will use... Oh, that's fire resistance like no one's business. That is not actually very good. Okay, so we're going to need physical. Yep, physical against that. So Goblin in the back will do quite fine for us. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Hopefully quite well. And you're really, really weak against nature, so we'll put another little poison trap there. And then our other guys... Well, I think it's pretty easy what we want to do here. Let's just do this. And there we go. Alright, let's see what happens. Cross your fingers. We might do alright. This is going to do a lot of damage to the back line. Yep, very nice. And they're going to take even more damage by the bleeds and everything. Oh, no damage. No damage. And this guy has minus 50% ice resistance. Look at how crazy good this guy is. Wow, I can't wait to actually start using him and getting him upgraded. He's just going to be an absolute beast. Alright, so let's use Goblin Trick. We've got to eliminate the Scholar in the back line because she is actually immune to the Master spells, which is actually not good. Oh, you killed my skeleton. Ugh, how annoying. How trivial of you. Yes. Anyway, this is going to do so much damage. Whoa, look. Wow, that is just crazy. Okay. So unfortunately, I think my Malphus guy is actually going to end up dying because we couldn't kill the back line. Maybe we'll die. Maybe she'll die from the bleed. Ah, no, never mind. That guy took him out. Whoa, beheaded as well. That's not very nice for Malphus. I should have put him in the second room, shouldn't I? Yeah, I probably should have done that. And as I suspected, the first target over here is the highest in HP, but thankfully, now that we have the opportunity to do so, we can basically just eliminate them with the Burning Whip. Boom, and well, they actually don't die from spells, unfortunately, at the moment, but obviously, because this is early access, some things are going to be changed and tweaked and all that sort of thing, so do bear that in mind. Otherwise, we're going to eliminate the last enemy right there. This is going to die from damage over time, or it should, at least. Or maybe it's going to die from this. Yes, just an AoE fire spell. Very nice. Alright, so we now have an opportunity to gain an additional 2 traps. We can choose between them. And this one does fire damage, and this one does bleeding damage. But it only does damage to the back or the front. I think I'm going to take the gold, actually. I think I'm going to take the gold. I personally quite like our traps the way they are at the moment. Okay, so there's a doctor. So stick out your tongue and say R, or you can go to the merchant. I think I'm going to go to the doctor and actually see what's going on here. Everything seems to be in order. Oh, okay. So it basically just heals, I think, the boss. I think it heals the Dungeon Lord, I think, maybe. Anyway, let's go on a course. I don't really want this guy to get the course, so I'm going to ignore this. Oh, Black Market. Sell monsters in the garrison that are no longer useful to you. Now we're going to go to the event. Garbage chute. The Workers' Union has made a request, an anonymous suggestions box for the employees. Even if they can't write, this simple gesture will boost morale. They don't need to know that the suggestions box will empty straight into the trash. +1 motivation for all available monsters. I don't think I'm going to do that for 150. Wow. Okay, we're already there, huh? Okay, so these guys can all just stay where they are, I think. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I can kind of swap some of these out. So let's swap this guy out. And we can put this guy back here. This guy can come back in. And I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think that seems fine. Generally what you want to do, which is what I'm not actually doing right now, but generally what you want to do is probably put monsters that you want to keep at a high morale in the second room. and then put the ones that you don't really care about in the first room. But I'm doing the exact opposite here, apart from Bouchon. Bouchon is just insanely good in my opinion, but yeah. Well, these both do ice damage. Okay, this guy can come over here then. Alright, so now I could decide to attack veterans, or shall we say I could decide to defend against veterans, and I think I'm actually going to do that. I think it's going to be quite fun to try that out, because this is the first time we've had the opportunity to choose between normal difficulty adventurers and harder level ones. So you can see here that their level is substantially increased in comparison to before. We're going to go for Circular Sword to start with, because these guys in the back are actually weak against physical, and we are once again going to place these guys here, front, in the area, okay. Randomly moves, oh, okay, yeah, that might be a bit problematic. These guys are all weak against fire apart from the guy in the front. So this guy can go here, and we can just have our skeletal soldier out the front there as well. Okay, so we'll have another trap as well. We probably want to just go for... I'm going to go for the rallying horn this time. I think that's probably going to be best. And then we will place Bouchon here. And are they weak? They're weak against fire, most of them, right? Well, some of them are. So we'll just do this here and this here. Do they have ice resistance? Ooh, the guy in the back has ice resistance. But otherwise, no, I think that's pretty good. We're going to use the AoE with our Yeti to slow them down, because speed is actually a really, really important stat as well. If you could slow your adventurers down, then they're going to move slower than your guys, and then you're potentially going to be able to reduce the amount of damage you actually take in the end. Alright. So, what are they going to do? Wow, that's a lot of damage. Are you serious? They're much faster than I am, as you can tell. Yeah, they're doing... Wow, okay. Can I move? Can I actually move? Okay, crazy. Crazy amount of damage right there. I'm hopeful that my guy's going to... He didn't live. He didn't live through that. As I said, these adventurers are a tier above the normal guys. So it is going to be one of those things where we might have some issues. We might actually have more issues than I anticipate. I don't know. Okay, so we can apply morale damage, which we could do, or we could just... Yeah, I think I'm actually going to apply morale damage for the moment. It might be the case where I actually have to focus on dealing morale here, especially in the final little encounter that we're going to have with the Dungeon Lord. This guy is doing so much damage. He's a ninja. Of course he's dealing a lot of damage. They all go before me as well, which is really bad. Okay, so at least we can do this. So much damage to the two backline guys. And now we can do Freezing Breath, which is also going to slow them down, which will hopefully enable us to do more in the next turn. Yeah, not really. Not really. Nope, that's it. Alright, it's boss time. This is the first time we actually get to see the slaveholder in action, and this is going to be quite fun. Alright, so he's got 3 abilities: Whiplash, Enslavement, and Challenge. Challenge does morale damage, which I think I might use that twice. It really depends. Actually, you know what? I think I'm just going to use Enslavement, because that does air damage and applies bleeding. So even if you don't have people that can afflict bleed, you can then use Enslavement, and then you can use Whiplash, and as you can see, it regenerates the master's life by 20% of the damage dealt if the target is affected by bleeding. So there's also that. So there's a lot of synergy going on with the slaveholder, which I very much like. So let's do Enslavement, get these guys dead, and that has reduced our damage by our damage taken by a pretty significant amount. And now what I could do is I could do Whiplash and then heal myself a little bit by 10. And he is doing quite a lot of damage to us, which is unfortunate, but boom, he's dead. So that's not too bad. They did fail to get there, but they did very well. They did very well getting there in the meantime. But otherwise, we do have a gargoyle here that we could potentially take if we wanted to. Personally, I don't think I'm going to take that. I think I'm going to just take the gold. We could get more resistances, actually. More resistances for our boss might actually be really good. So I think I'm going to take that, even though 200 gold would enable me to do a lot of stuff. But I think I'm pretty happy with it as it is. Anyway, we're now at week 20, and I'm actually going to end this episode off here. If you'd like to see more from Legend of Keepers, then by all means let me know. Otherwise, you can check out the game yourself through the link in the description. I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.